Before you even started school, before you learned to read, before you learned to tie your shoes, your brain had already decided whether you would spend money or save it for the rest of your life. Scientists proved this in 2023. And the scariest part? Most of you are still running that exact same program right now. I'm Eric. Stay until the end of this video, because in the final scene, I'm going to show you a specific technique backed by neuroscience that can actually rewrite these patterns. It takes 66 days. It's uncomfortable, and it works. But first, let me show you exactly how deep this goes. In 2023, researchers at the University of Michigan published a study in the Journal of Behavioral Decision Making. They tested children as young as 5 years old. They gave them real money, small amounts, and watched what they did with it. What they found completely changed how we understand financial behavior. 5-year-olds already showed two completely different emotional reactions to spending money. Some kids felt discomfort, almost pain when they spent. Others felt nothing at all, like pressing a button. The researchers called these two types Tightwads and Spendthrifts. And here's what shocked them. These patterns did not come from the parents. The researchers tested the parents separately using the same Spendthrift Tightwad scale that adults use. The children's scores did not match their parents' scores. These emotional reactions to money appear to be partly innate, hardwired from birth. But here's where it gets complicated and actually useful.
Even if you're partly born with a tendency, childhood experiences shape it completely. A naturally cautious child raised in financial chaos becomes an anxious hoarder. A naturally easygoing child raised watching parents overspend becomes a debt machine. The research term for what gets built is called a money script, and it runs your financial life from the background, like an app you never see but can never close.
The term money script was coined by Dr. Brad Klontz, a financial psychologist and professor at Creighton University. His research, published in the Journal of Financial Therapy, identified 4 specific types of money scripts that explain the majority of financial dysfunction in adults. We're going to go through all 4, and I want you to find yourself in at least one of them. Money script number 1, money avoidance. This is the belief, usually unconscious, that money is bad, that rich people are greedy, that wanting money makes you a bad person, that you don't deserve financial success. This script often develops in families where money was associated with conflict, shame, or moral judgment.
Adults with money. Avoidance often sabotage their own success. They undercharge for their work. They give money away compulsively. They avoid checking their bank account, literally. Dr. Klontz's research found this script is strongly associated with lower income, higher debt, and financial dependence on others. If the idea of tracking your spending makes you feel vaguely guilty or anxious, this might be you. Money script number 2, money worship. This is the opposite extreme. The belief that money is the answer to every problem. That more money will finally make you happy, safe, and free. That you can never have enough. This often develops in families where money was visibly associated with power, love, or survival. Adults with money worship work compulsively. They spend compulsively. They believe the next raise, the next car, the next purchase will finally make them feel okay. And it never does. Klontz's research links this script to workaholism, gambling, overspending, and hoarding. The person who earns $200,000 and still feels broke, almost always running a money worship script. Money script number 3, money status. The belief that your self-worth equals your net worth. That what you own tells people who you are. That appearing wealthy is as good as being wealthy, maybe better. This develops in families where appearances were heavily emphasized or where social comparison was constant. Adults with money status overspend on visible things, cars, clothes, vacations, restaurants. They go into debt for appearances. They feel genuine shame driving an old car or wearing last season's clothes. And they are statistically the most likely to carry credit card debt. Sound familiar? This is also the script most aggressively targeted by advertising since you were a child. Money script number 4, money vigilance. The belief that you must always be careful, secretive, and anxious about money. That talking about money is rude or dangerous. That you should never show what you have. This often develops in families that went through financial hardship, loss, or trauma. Money vigilance sounds the healthiest of the 4. And in some ways it is. These people often save well and avoid debt. But it also creates crippling anxiety about money, even when there's no real danger. They check their accounts obsessively. They can't enjoy spending even on necessities. Klontz's research found they often have higher savings, but lower financial satisfaction than people with less money. They can never relax. Now here's what makes this really interesting. Most people don't have just one script. You might run money vigilance at work, saving carefully, anxious about security, but switch to money status the moment you walk into a car dealership or a restaurant with colleagues. These scripts can conflict with each other. That internal conflict? That's why managing money feels exhausting for most people. It's not math. It's psychology fighting itself. So how exactly does this programming happen? It's not one big moment. It's thousands of tiny observations that accumulate before you have the language to question them. Researchers call this implicit learning, absorbing rules from watching without being taught directly. Your brain was literally taking notes every time money appeared in your household. The three most powerful programming channels are, first, what you heard, the actual phrases your parents repeated about money. Second, what you saw, how they behaved with money when they thought no one was watching. Third, what you felt, the emotional charge around money in your home. Stress, shame, pride, secrecy. Children absorb emotional atmosphere like a sponge before they can form a single logical thought. Dr. Klontz identified specific phrases that carry enormous programming power. Phrases like, money doesn't grow on trees. Rich people are greedy. We can't afford that. Don't talk about money. Save for a rainy day. Money is the root of all evil. If you grew up hearing any of these regularly, I want you to notice right now whether you still believe them, not logically, in your gut. Here's a real example of how this plays out. Research published in the Journal of Financial Therapy followed adults who grew up in households where money was treated as a source of shame or embarrassment. As adults, 67% of them reported avoiding opening financial mail, checking their bank balance, or reading their credit card statements. They knew intellectually this was harmful. They did it anyway, because the emotion overrides the logic every single time. And here's the part that makes this generational. Klontz's research found that money scripts are passed down not through genes but through behavior and atmosphere, which means the script your parents ran was probably their parents' script too, adapted for a new era. Some of these programs are 50, 60, 70 years old, still running in your head, originally written for an economic reality that no longer exists. I want to stop being abstract for a moment and show you what these scripts cost in actual dollars. Because this isn't just a therapy conversation. This is a financial channel. And every money script has a measurable price tag attached to it. Money avoidance. Average cost, undercharging for your work by 20 to 30% throughout your career. A person earning $60,000 who undercharges by 25% is leaving $20,000 on the table every year. Over a 30-year career, assuming modest investment of that gap, that's over $3.3 million in unrealized wealth. From one belief. Money is bad. Money status. Average cost, the premium spending gap. Klontz's research found money status individuals spend 31% more on visible, status-signaling purchases than comparable earners without this script. On a $70,000 income, that's roughly $8,700 per year on things bought for appearance rather than function. Invested instead, $870,000 over 25 years at 8%. That BMW lease is costing you a retirement. Money worship. The cost here is behavioral, compulsive spending, impulse purchases, inability to stop at enough. The average money worship pattern adds roughly $400 to $700 per month in unplanned spending. That's $5,400 to $8,400 per year. Over 20 years with the opportunity cost of investing it instead. Between $247,000 and $385,000. Gone. Because something always felt like it was missing. And money vigilance. This one surprises people. The cost isn't in spending, it's in paralysis. Klontz found that extreme money vigilance causes people to underinvest, keeping too much in cash savings, refusing to take any investment risk, missing decades of market returns. A person keeping $50,000 in a savings account at 0.5% instead of an index fund at 8% loses $267,000 in growth over 20 years. The fear of losing money costs more than actually losing money would have. Before I give you the fix, I need you to understand one more thing. Because if you've been watching this thinking, I know all this, I just need more willpower, neuroscience says that's exactly the wrong approach. And it's actually why most financial advice fails most people. When you encounter a financial decision, spending money, saving money, investing, Two brain systems activate. The prefrontal cortex, logical, slow, rational. The amygdala and limbic system, emotional, fast, powerful. Your money script lives in the emotional system, and neuroscience is very clear. In conflicts between the emotional brain and the rational brain, the emotional brain wins roughly 90% of the time. Willpower is a rational tool trying to fight an emotional force. It's a calculator against a flamethrower. This is why people who know they shouldn't spend still spend. Why people who know they should invest still don't. Why people who earn more money often just spend more money. The knowledge is in the wrong brain system. And every generic piece of financial advice, budget more, spend less, save 20%, is aimed at the rational brain while the emotional brain is running the show completely unchallenged. A 2012 study at the University of California found that people who were asked to simply identify their emotional state before a financial decision made statistically better choices. Not because they controlled the emotion, but because naming it reduced its intensity. Psychologists call this affect labeling. Putting a word to a feeling physically reduces the emotional brain's activation. You can't fight it, but you can name it into submission. Okay, I promised you the unexpected research at the end. Here it is. First one. Klontz's team found that the single strongest predictor of a healthy relationship with money in adulthood is not how rich or poor your family was. It's whether money was discussed openly and without shame in your household. Families that talked about money calmly raised financially healthier adults, regardless of income level. A family discussing tight budgets openly produced better outcomes than a wealthy family treating money as taboo. Second unexpected finding. Klontz's research found that having a financial trauma, a sudden bankruptcy, job loss, or major financial crisis in childhood sometimes produces better financial outcomes in adulthood than a stable but financially avoidant upbringing. Because the trauma forced a direct confrontation with money reality. People who experienced it and processed it often developed genuine financial competence. The ones who grew up protected from any money reality often had no tools at all when adult financial life arrived. Third finding. And this is the one I find most powerful. A 2019 follow-up study found that simply becoming aware of your money script, just identifying it, naming it, without doing anything else, produced a measurable shift in financial behavior within 6 months. Not therapy, not a financial plan, just awareness. People who named their script spent less impulsively, saved more consistently, and reported lower financial anxiety. The act of seeing the program is itself part of breaking it. Now, the 66 days I mentioned at the start. A 2010 study by Dr. Philippa Lally at University College London, one of the most cited habit formation studies in psychology, found that the average time to form a new automatic habit is 66 days, not 21 days. That's a myth with no study behind it. 66. For financial habits specifically, the research suggests it's on the longer end of that range. Here's the process. 3 steps. All based on peer-reviewed research. Step 1. Name your script. Based on what you heard today, pick the one that felt most like you. Write it down. 1 sentence. I believe that money is blank. This activates the affect labeling effect we talked about. Naming it immediately reduces its power. Research says this alone shifts financial behavior. Do this today, before you close this video. Literally pause and write it. Step 2. Find the origin memory. Where did that belief come from? Most people can trace their core money belief to 1 or 2 specific memories from before age 12. You don't need therapy for this. Just ask yourself, what is the earliest memory I have involving money and a strong emotion? That memory is likely where your script was written. Understanding origin doesn't erase the script, but it moves it from invisible to visible. You can't edit code you can't see. Step 3. Install a counter script. This is where the 66 days come in. For each situation where your old script activates, an impulse purchase, an avoided account check, an underpriced invoice, you practice a specific replacement thought. Not a positive affirmation. Those don't work. A specific, believable, evidence-based replacement. Not, money is wonderful. Something like, checking my account is a neutral act that gives me information. Practiced 66 times, this builds a new neural pathway alongside the old one. You never delete the old script. You just build a stronger new road. I want to be honest with you. This is not easy. This is not a hack. Some money scripts are connected to real trauma, financial abuse, childhood poverty, parents' addiction, divorce, and those may need professional support to address properly. Dr. Klontz has trained financial therapists who specialize specifically in this. That's a real field, not self-help. If your financial behavior feels compulsive or out of control and you recognize deep roots, that option exists and it works. Here's what I want you to leave with. You are not bad with money. You are not lazy. You are not broken. You are running a program that was written for you by people who were also running programs written for them before you had any say in the matter. The fact that you can see this now, as an adult, is the beginning of the edit. Not the whole edit, but the beginning. I'm going to put Dr. Klontz's full money script inventory in the description. It's free, it's academic, it takes 10 minutes, and it will tell you your exact score on all 4 scripts. Do it. Share this with someone you grew up with. Your sibling, your old friend, someone who had the same financial programming you did. It's a very different conversation once you can both see it. Next video, we're going to go even deeper. How the tax system taxes the same dollar 6 times before it reaches your pocket, and what people who understand this do differently. Subscribe so you don't miss it. Drop a comment right now. Which of the 4 scripts felt most like you? I'm reading everyone.